Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And today I want to bring you guys my review, my first look and impressions of a brand new game, the sequel to Injustice, Injustice 2 Mobile. Now I know this game has been out for quite some time privately in the Philippines, but now I believe it's a global release for the game. There was some issues with certain countries not finding it on their App Store or their Play Store just yet, but by the time of this video it should be available to all you guys, so you can go and check it out. It's free to play and it features all of the DC or most of the DC staples that you have come to know and love from the comics and the shows and the movies. So it's a pretty cool game. It's a fighting game, very much so in the vein of things like Transformers Forged to Fight, the Power Rangers game, and Marvel Contest of Champions. But it does some things a little bit differently. It's got some extra game modes. It's lacking some game modes because it's a brand new release. And it does have a different IP. You know, it's not Marvel, it's DC. So there does bring some new life to this genre. And it is following in the footsteps of a very popular first Injustice game. Just full disclosure off the bat, guys, I did not play the first Injustice game, so my knowledge of it and to compare to this one is not perfect. I do know some things, but not everything. But I do want to jump into the review and give you guys my opinion and my thoughts on this game, having played it. So jumping right into it, guys, this game basically functions like a fighting game. You go in with your characters that you get by opening chests, and then their power level is determined by the number at the top, which is their actual level, and their stars, which unlocks different abilities. You take those characters into battle, into a campaign mode. You can take them into the arena to fight other players, but it's AI controlled. And you can do story missions, and you can also do resource missions. There's other stuff, as you can see, coming soon. I haven't unlocked challenges yet, so I'm not sure what that is. And then leagues, I assume that's another PvP thing. It might be tied to your alliance or your guild. That also has not been unlocked yet. The game itself is the tap and swipe features that you've come to expect from fighting games. When you go in with energy and you assemble your team, you will then face off against another team, and you have to defeat them. You have to lower their health bars. It's a standard fighting game, you know, technique to win. I do really like these loading screens. They change depending on which characters are on your team. I think that's a really nice touch. The one thing I will say that does bother me right off the bat playing this game is the loading times. Now, I don't know if they're better for Apple, but they are pretty bad, as you can see, for Android devices. On almost every screen, there's a lot of lag, and there's a lot of waiting time, very long. But the game itself plays pretty straightforwardly. You have characters, you use them to fight. You have your standard light attacks. You have, you know, swiping back. You can move back. You can throw projectiles as well. You can jump and do aerial attacks. And then you have special attacks that you can use to do multiple hits and have multiple animations. There's also kind of an ultimate attack that you can see developing there at the bottom in orange, and that will enter a kind of unskippable CGI animation where the character does some kind of epic strike to really damage the opponent. We're going to get it here with Wonder Woman so you can see just what it looks like, but this is kind of what makes Injustice so cool. These special attacks, there's a lot of effort put into them to make them look amazing, and they're pretty badass. They don't disappoint. And there we get the KO of Wonder Woman on Harley Quinn. So this is the game at a glance. This is the kind of playstyle that you're going to be experiencing from the moment you start playing this game to the end. You're not going to be getting kind of an ARPG aspect. You're not going to be getting like a puzzle game or turn-based strategy game. This is going to be a fighting game, beat-em-up style affair with some strategy involved, which I'll get into a little bit later. But that's the kind of the foundation of the game, and I think they do it pretty well, at least for this first iteration. I know it's building off of the success of Injustice 1, but they have gone and changed some things, and I want to address some of the changes that I've seen because they're important. The biggest change I think that they made is the shared energy bar, which I think a lot of people are going to be unhappy about, myself kind of included. In Injustice 1, as far as I can remember, each character had their own individual energy bars that you could manage for them. So if you ran out of energy with Harley Quinn, you could start doing missions with Scarecrow. If you ran out of missions with, or energy with Scarecrow from doing missions, switch to Wonder Woman. Not so. Now you have one global energy meter, and I gotta say, DC is quite stingy with the energy. They only give you 30 energy when you level up. They don't increase your bar back up to full, and it's quite difficult to get energy doing everyday tasks. There are daily missions that you can collect, but as you can see, there's only a total of 60 energy to be had from these missions daily. So you can only collect 60 energy from daily missions, which is really not that much if you compare it to other games. But then you also have achievements that you can, sporadically gain other, currencies from. Speaking of other currencies, I do want to touch briefly on the kind of pay to win or the pay portion of the game, because like any other free mobile game, there is a part of the game where you can go to get ahead faster than free-to-play players if you put down your wallet. I went ahead and I purchased what I think is the only reasonably priced pack here. It's the one that you can't see because it's grayed out on the far right. It is the starter pack. It costs $4.09 in my native currency, and it gives you 500 gems. That's a reasonable offer. A lot of these other offers I think are quite expensive and they're quite bad. By comparison, this power pack, ignore the XP chips because they're worthless and the SIM cards are basically worthless, gives you 1800 crystals for $27. If you compare that by multiplying out the starter pack, you're paying an extra $15 for 300 crystals, which is, or sorry, power gems, which is, asinine. If you go over to the regular gem section, 550 gems, which is 50 more than the starter packs, runs you $14. That's a full $10 more. That's like triple the price, guys. So I think that their gem system is pretty bad right now, coupled with the fact that it's extremely difficult to grind for characters. You can see that DC has kind of developed this game to be very slow out of the gate. If you're going to play this game free to play, I'm going to kind of warn you now, you're not going to get characters easily. The only reason why I have any characters at all, I got Catwoman as a pre-order bonus, and then I unlocked Cyborg, the Joker, and Scarecrow, and Deadshot from those crystals that I purchased. And purchasing crystals also gained me extra crystals, which is kind of nice, because when you unlock more characters, you get achievements, and those achievements can be to the tune of 250 crystals. So that is pretty cool, as you can see there. If you get a certain number of heroes of a certain faction, you get like 2 meta heroes or 2 might heroes, you'll get 50 crystals, and that kind of compounds itself. And I ended up getting a lot more crystals. It was on the live stream, it was a highlight. But I do have to say it is very grindy at the beginning. However, I do have to compare that to a game like Future Fight when it started. Nowadays, Future Fight seems a lot less grindy because they have to give new players so many extra bonuses to catch up to the veterans who have been playing for 2+ years. This game is brand new. Everyone is starting at the same power level, aside from people who had been playing on the Philippine servers because they didn't reset anything. So aside from those people, they're all starting at the baseline, and so they have to make that climb gradual and not, get people to the top too quickly because they'll get bored of the game. I understand that, but seeing the way that games like DC Legends have played out, the brand Warner Brothers, as far as their making of DC branded games, is starting to get the reputation of being very stingy both with how they give out characters and how quick it is to build up a roster, and with how expensive it is to progress your roster using gold, using actual money. I wouldn't mind buying multiple of these starter packs. I want to give you some of my money, DC, but you're making it very unenticing. You're making it unappealing to do so because you're charging so much right out of the gate to get any progress made whatsoever. But beside that, the game does have some interesting things to offer. On top of the campaign mode, which I find, pretty interesting, and where you can get experience for your heroes, you can get equipment that makes your heroes stronger and changes their appearance if you get all of the sets and other things. You can also do PvP, and PvP is where you're going to grind most of your character chips or character kind of fragments. So in the PvP game mode, when the screen finally loads, you'll be able to search for opponents, and you'll be able to battle them a certain number of times per day because your energy recharges, so it's not just a set number of tries per day. And then depending on your placing at the end of the week, you will get a certain allotment of these red coins in the top right corner, and then you can use those coins to buy things in the store. So as you can see here, if you manage to get, let's say, competitor 4, you get 100 of those red, pentagon looking things, and then you can go into the arena store and you can spend them on shards. 5 shards is not a lot, it's exactly what it sounds like. 10 shards gets you a 1-star hero. I believe heroes go up to at least 5 stars, so there's a lot of shards to grind for. The PvP aspect, I will give it some you know, respect. It is pretty cool. It does show you a leaderboard. It does let you cycle through opponents, and it doesn't cost anything to switch through opponents. However, you only get one refresh of your total opponent list every few hours, so you have to be careful. One thing that I will advise you guys on, if you are doing PvP, it's better to do solo PvP, as I've discovered. So if I go in with a group of 3 characters and I fight and I win, I do get more points, but I also do waste an entry for all 3 characters. So if I, let's say, edit this team and I add in Batman and Harley Quinn, when I go and I fight now, because I'm now going to be shown teams of 3, it's going to automatically regenerate the teams. As you can see there, my enemy now has 3 instead of 1. If I win, I get more points, but I also waste a refresh, or I waste a fight for Scarecrow, Batman, and Harley Quinn. Alternatively, if I take these away and I only go in with Scarecrow, I am getting fewer points for a win, but I can A, stretch out the number of matches total that I can do so I can play this game for longer, and B, I can have more total fights because I won't run out of energy fast, and it's still fair because now I'm only fighting 1 opponent, and I can still select between 5 choices, or I can refresh my opponents entirely and get a new batch of 5. So there is a lot of grinding to be done in the arena, but it's free. It doesn't cost energy, which is great. So you can maximize the number of tries. You can get, you know, 50, 60 fights in a day, and you can really hone your skills, which I think is great. I love kind of endless PvP. In addition to those 2 game modes, in addition to the resource mode, which is where you get XP chips and other items to boost your character's stats, this is kind of like daily missions where you just grind for extra stuff. You can do story missions which are extremely cinematic. There are some fights in them, but they're mostly about the story of the game. And I have to say they do a pretty decent job doing the story and playing it out. It seems to have, you know, decent continuity, and there is a tease for more chapters later on down the road, so this game is going to expand, which is great to see. The last thing that separates this game from other games is they have an operations mode where you can send characters on missions to collect rewards for you. And here's the part that I want to highlight for you guys, because I think if you're going to play this game and you want to ask the question and you want the answer, how should I spend my power gems that I get? Here's my advice. Don't spend them on extra characters if you can stomach it, but instead spend it on upgrading this mode. Spend it down here at the bottom and upgrade the operations menu in this kind of game mode as much as you can. I've already got mine at level 10. I believe level 15 is the max, and it's really amazing. It's going to give you gold. It's going to give you character XP, which are 2 awesome things. It's also going to give you, if you level it up enough, gear, which is extremely hard to get. And in rare occasions, you will also get crystals. So I'm going to finish these ones so you guys can see what it looks like. Batman finished his operation. I got 800 gold. Batman leveled up to 20. That's fantastic. Huge XP. And I also completed an achievement. Harley Quinn's, let's see. She also got 1,000 gold. She also almost got 2 levels. She almost had a full level up. Deadshot's not finished his just yet, but I'm hoping that he will bring back something in addition to gold. You can continue to assign people to these operations. You don't have a finite limit per day. You just have to make sure that you have the right number of heroes, because if you don't have enough heroes, you can't play other missions. Once the heroes are sent on these operations, they cannot be eligible for other tasks. So you just need to have a big enough pool at the beginning in order to get both characters fighting in story missions and arena missions and doing these operation missions. But these operation missions are fantastic because they don't cost any energy. There's literally no resource to send the characters out. They bring back XP for themselves and gold and other goodies for everyone else. And you can get power gems as a reward, so you can replenish your investment over time. The last part that I really like about this is that for the longer missions that are 3 or 4 or 10 hours long, you can set those up just before you go to sleep, and that way you can maximize your success, and you can maximize the amount of farming that you're doing even when you're not playing the game. I do have to give DC props for the number of achievements they have in this game out of the gate. They do give you quite a lot of power gems. I think I got between like 500 and 1,000 just from playing the game and not spending any gems and just unlocking things and leveling characters up and, you know, equipping their gear and stuff like that. I'll quickly show you guys what the gear looks like, but it's a bit technical, so I don't want to get too much into it, and they do call out the character's name every time you go into the menu screen. What's cool about this game and what separates it from some of the other fighting games like Contest of Champions is that each character has gear. When you equip all 5 slots, it will change their appearance, and in addition to that, you can level up the gear by breaking down the other gear that you don't need from other characters and using that material you get to upgrade this gear. When you upgrade it, and also when you equip multiple pieces, you'll get a synergy bonus. As you can see, I have a 5% crit chance bonus, and then I can get the gear to a high enough level, I can unlock different chance effects for the gear. So it allows for a lot of customization. So you could have a Batman that has a lot of chances to proc crits, proc bleeds, maybe has a lot of unblockable attacks, something like that. And they can basically be different even though they're the same character, which I think is really cool. On top of that, you can go into the abilities menu and you can level up your different specials that you get. You can change, you know, how much damage they do and stuff like that. You can unlock talents, which will give your character other special traits. In this case, mine's getting an extra 5% XP, and then at every star you get an additional talent, and then you can see their stats to see, you know, what they're doing and how much of it they're doing. So that's basically the rundown of the game. Overall, I think for a free-to-play experience in the fighting game genre, it's pretty well polished. I think they're doing a lot of things right, from Injustice 1 to Injustice 2, this new game. I am not happy with the state of the energy allotment and how much energy they give you per day and how quickly it recharges and stuff like that. I think they do need to change that. It's especially expensive for heroic missions. When you go into these heroic missions, it costs 12 energy per mission, which is far too much for a game that only allots you this much energy out of the gate. It's extremely prohibitive. In addition to that, I do think that the paid shop does need to be looked at, and the costs do need to be rebalanced and tuned, because right now it's far too expensive to invest in this game and expect reasonable returns. You know, these hero chests that you can get, they cost 150 power gems, and the best I got out of it was a 3-star character, and that was a very lucky pull. You're probably going to get 1- and 2-star heroes, all random, and if you get duplicates, you're just getting shards to level that character up and rank them up. So it's a bit imbalanced in that sense, but overall I think this is a pretty good first step for the game. Please keep in mind, when you are critiquing this game yourself or critiquing my critique, it is in its infancy. This game just came out of beta, it's brand new released, so yeah, it's gonna go through growing pains. It's gonna have some, you know, mistakes or some features missing or some features that are imbalanced, but hopefully if we can shed light on them, we can change them. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're interested in a game like this, if you're interested in DC at all, because we are Marvel boys after all. And of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.